So next, guys, we are going to fill the boxes. All right, we've got our 5x5 grid, but there's no prizes in there yet. So to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to create this other separate method called public void fill boxes, and then later I'll just call it at the bottom of setup. All right, so remember the rule. We want to go through each of our 5 prizes and fill them into 3 boxes each. All right, the challenge is if we're putting it into a random box, we want to make sure that that box doesn't have a prize already. So we're going to be relying on some of the abilities of the prize box. Like we can ask the prize box, hey, do you have a prize already? If you do, we're going to move on to another box. All right, so that's going to be helpful in this next part of the code. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start by going through each prize 3 times. All right, so we can use a simple for loop that just goes like through like for string prizes. And so that's going to go through each prize and then 3 times, so spots 1 to 3. All right, so again, every prize has to go through 3 different locations, or into 3 different locations. So we're saying let prize equal each prize in the prizes list, right? So we got like hat and then doll. So for hat, we're going to do 3 spots, and then doll 3 spots, and then ball 3 spots, and so on. All right, now because we may pick a spot that's a random spot that's already got a prize in it, we got to go into like an inner while true loop here, okay? We want to keep going until we find a box that doesn't have a prize in it already. All right, so we're going to start this while true, okay, and then we're going to basically pick, and I realize I'm just bringing the code in here and you have to sort of pause this to copy it. All right, but we're going to pick a random box, right? So next int 5 and next int 5. So this is going to be a random 0 to 4x and 0 to 4y. So this is essentially going to hit any of the 5x5 boxes in random. All right, now before we place a prize in there, we want to ask that box, hey, prize box or boxes, do you have a prize? Okay, so we say it like this. We say if boxes at location xy that we just randomly picked has prize equals false. That means it's empty. Okay, now we have found a place to place our prize. So we can actually set the prize there. Okay, so we can say boxes at xy set the prize to that prize and then break. Okay, this little piece of code is probably one of the hardest parts of the program. So let me just go through it completely because we're basically done with this fill boxes method. All right, so from the top, we're going through each prize 3 times. Right, I think this part everybody understands. Okay, when we go to pick a random box number though, we want to keep picking random box numbers until we find one that doesn't have a prize. All right, and then when we do, we'll set like, say we're on like the first prize, the hat. All right, so we find an empty box, we put the hat there, so set prize to hat and break. Okay, this breaks out of the while true, but then that also comes back to spot number 2, say. And then we do the same thing, find a spot for the second hat, and then eventually break. Go to spot 3, find a spot for that hat, and then break. But then this time we break out and come back up to the outer for loop, where we go on to the next prize, and then we come back in and do it for 3 times. All right, so it's going to basically do that for all 5 prizes. Now, to show you that this is working, I'm going to make a call up here in setup. So now that we've got all of our boxes laid out, we can then call fill boxes, and then that will give us the boxes where we need them to be, or the prizes rather, where we need them to be. All right, so this is a good spot to just pause and run it and make sure that everything's working. And sure enough, we have our prizes. All right, and you can look really closely. Yours will look different than mine because it's random locations. All right, but you should see each prize in 3 different boxes, and you should be able to count 10 empty boxes when you're done. All right, so next we're going to work on toss a penny. Okay, so let me just get out of here. So when we go to toss a penny, we want to just randomly pick a spot, like one of the 5x5 boxes, and just toss a penny in there. And that'll cause a little red X to appear inside that box, or an additional red X if there's already a penny there. All right, so going down to the mouse press section of the template, we're going to start by just asking the question, did we hit the toss button? All right, and we do this all the time when we're going to work with buttons. The first thing we ask is, did we hit that particular button? Now we're going to add another condition to this though, guys, because if we hit the button and we're out of pennies, we don't want to toss another penny. So one way I can do that is I can just add an additional I'll open that up a little bit, I can add an additional thing here and say as long as we've hit the button and pennies is greater than 0. Alright, so if we hit the button and we run out of pennies, then it won't do any of this code, which is kind of a handy way to deal with that. Alright, so what do we want to do? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to charge them a penny, or take a penny off their account, and we're going to update their label. Right? So that's the first thing we'll do, because it costs them a penny to toss a penny, basically. Alright, so from there we're just going to pick a random XY location, just like we did when we placed the prizes, right? So an X and a Y that are going to be just like that. Now we can just go r.nextInt5 because that's going to give me a number from 0 to 4, which is exactly what we want, because that's the range of box locations for both dimensions, right? So now that we've got that, we can run this command here, which is boxes at location xy.tossPenny. So what does that mean? Well, if I go to the prize box class, you can look up the tossPenny command. Alright, so tossPenny is right here, and all it does is it adds an X to pennies. So what does that do? Well, remember, we're redrawing these boxes like 60 times a second, and part of drawing the box is to draw the pennies. Right? So if I go down to draw box, you'll see a spot where I'm drawing the text. So this puts text into a prize box, and pennies is the text, and it's just off the X and just down from the Y. So it's down at the bottom, it shows the red X's, and just before I do that, I do a fill. Right? So just to recap, I'm doing random XY location, tossing a penny. That's going to cause this code over here to run, the toss penny. It's going to add an X, and then it's going to basically redraw it with the penny there. Alright, so there's enough there that we can actually try this again. So I'm going to compile this, and we will run it, and you will see that as I click the button, it'll put a random penny in a random box. So it takes a little second to load. Okay, so now look at me, I'm tossing pennies. Okay, and as I'm doing that, my penny count is going down. Okay, so now I've got 0 pennies and I can no longer toss a penny. So that part of the game is over. So what we got to do next, guys, is determine whether we've won a prize. Now in this particular example, off the top I can see I've won a ball because I've hit the ball in 3 places. I've also won a doll, so I hit doll, doll, and doll. So I've actually won 2 prizes, but my game doesn't know that yet. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have a separate method that basically goes through each prize and asks the question, hey, does this prize have a penny in each of the times that we see the prize in the grid? Okay, so that'll be the next thing that we do. So if pennies is not greater than 0, it's not going to run this code here, and instead we'll put something down here that says if pennies equal 0, let's see if we won a prize. Now again, we could have won many prizes, right? So what we're going to do is build a separate method that's going to send in a prize and send back true if there's a penny in all 3 places where that prize is, or a false if not. And then we can call that method for each of the 5 prizes and then sort of build up a list of the prizes that we won. Alright, so if that sounds good, or even if it sounds confusing in theory, let's take a look at the code and we'll kind of go through it line by line. So let's go down below the mouse pressed here for a second, okay? And we're going to create this other Boolean method called onPrize. Okay, so remember from our method lesson last week, we have a return type of Boolean. This is going to send back a true or a false, depending on the prize that we send in. So this is the parameter prize we're sending in. We're going to try to count 3 times for the prize to have a penny. And if we get up to 3, that means we have a penny in all 3 boxes. Alright, so to help us with this, we're going to have a variable. We're going to open this up a little bit first. So just open this up to give yourself a bit of room. And we're going to have a variable called count. And again, every time we find the prize and a penny, we're going to add 1 to count. Alright, so again, to go through all 25 boxes, we need a for loop inside of a for loop. So one more time, here's the X for loop going from 0 to 5. Okay, and I'm just pasting this code back in because I've already typed it, right? But you can pause this and get caught up. And then inside of that, an inner for loop that goes 0 to 5 as well. Okay, so now comes the magic line of code. We're going to ask boxes XY 2 questions at the same time. First of all, A, do you have this prize in your box? And B, do you have at least 1 penny? And if both of those are true, we're going to count that as 1. Okay, so here's what that looks like. So if boxes at location XY has the prize, and send in the prize, and boxes.x1 has a penny. Alright, so where has prize has a penny? Where's this stuff coming from? Well, again, I want to remind you, or basically call you back to the prize box code that I gave you to start with. Okay, so we're asking the prize box if it has the prize, right? So if I go to prize box, I look up this has prize command. Okay, so there's the has, so it's going to run this, right? We send in a prize, and it's basically looking to see if its prize variable equals the prize we've sent in. And if it does have it, true, else false. Now, we know when we go through this, we're going to find the prize in 3 places, right? So that's going to happen no matter what. We're also going to ask the box if it has a penny. So remember, each box has that penny string, and if the length of that string is greater than 0, that means there's at least one X in there, and we don't care how many pennies, at least 1 penny is needed. So if both of those things are true, that counts as a 1, okay, or it counts as 1 out of 3. So we're going to add 1 to count. Right, so then when we come out of the outer for loop, that means we've managed to go through all 25 boxes. We've now seen the prize 3 times, and we've counted how many times those boxes had a penny. So now below this, we're going to say, well, if we got to 3, okay, I guess I got that in a bit of a backwards order there, but if count gets to 3, that means, hey, we found pennies 3 times with that prize, else return false. All right, so now this little separate helper method is going to help us, decide if we've won a prize. Now, this is working for each individual prize. So now when we go to call this, we got to call it 5 times. So we're going to call it in a for loop, and we're going to send in each prize individually, 1 at a time. All right, so my prizes, of course, are up here in this list here called prizes. Okay, it's a string array of 5 prizes. All right, so now down here where we toss the pennies, or after we're done tossing the pennies, which is right here. All right, this is where the code picks up. So now we're going to ask this question. We're going to say, like, if pennies equals 0, right, and give yourself a bit of room here. Okay, that means the game is over. Right, so now we can basically travel through the prize list, send each prize in. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. We're going to have a variable which keeps track of the prizes we've won, and then we're going to say let p equal each prize. Okay, so now p can be sent in 5 times for each prize, and we can get back either a true or a false. So because the one prize method returns a Boolean, we're going to call that in an if statement. Okay, so it's going to look like this. If one prize, and then we send in p. If we get back a true, that means that prize is something we've won. So this prizes one string is going to add that prize to its list. Right, so we're just going to say prizes 1 equals p, and then we put a comma and a space in there just to separate in case we win more than one prize. All right, so when we come out after this little for loop, we've now checked every prize, and we've checked them all to see if they've got 3 pennies. So at this point, we may have a prize or more, or we might not have any prize. So a little quick check. If prizes 1 length equals 0, that means I didn't win anything. So I'm going to reset it to be the word nothing. All right, now how do we tell the user what they've won? Well, what we can do is we can pop up like a J option pane message dialog. So this next line of code is a bit long because with the message dialog, you got to put in what you want to say. So here's what that looks like. So J option pane dot show message dialog. This is the PApplet we're popping up over top of, and then prizes 1, and then the prizes 1 variable, and then click OK to start a new game. Now I think, I'm going to get an error here because I need to import this package called swing for the J option pane to work properly. We've worked with these before a little bit, but not much. But anyway, to get that to work, come on up here and import java x.swing.star. Okay, and that will allow the J option pane to work. Okay, now notice what the message says. It says prizes 1, and then we're tacking in the prizes 1. And then we're going to a new line and saying click OK to start a new game. Okay, now that's not just going to happen magically. We have to create a method called new game that we can use to start a new game. And that's not hard to do. But before we do that, let's just see if we can get this thing to work properly. So I'm going to compile this, and we're almost done this program now, guys. It's a pretty intense program. So I'm just going to run this here, and we'll toss our 20 pennies. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Prizes 1, nothing. Click OK to start a new game. So this might be the right message. Let's just verify. All right, so that means all prizes have at least 1 without a penny. So poster, no penny, doll, no penny, mug, no penny, hat, and ball. Yeah, so sure enough, I didn't win anything. All right, but now let's just finish this off by creating like a play again method or something along those lines. Okay, this can be a void method, and we can just put this down, I guess just right here, right below, like right above one prize. Okay, so we'll just go public void replay or something like that. It's a very simple method. We don't send anything in, we don't get anything back out. Okay, but we're just essentially going to go to all 25 boxes, and we're going to tell each box to reset itself. Remember, in prize box, there is a reset ability, so we can ask each prize box to reset itself, which will set its internal prize to nothing and internal pennies to nothing. All right, and then we have to basically redistribute the boxes again. But we have that in another method too, so that's not hard to do. All right, so back to Penny Pinch we go, and because we do this so much, I'm just going to steal a for loop from up here. So I'm just going to steal this for loop that's in the setup, and we'll just copy that, and we'll paste it into the replay. All right, so we'll just paste it down here. Okay, so boxes xy dot reset. Okay, so that's something that each box can do. Okay, so now that we've done that, that basically clears out the prizes and the pennies. Okay, but now we've got to like redistribute them. Okay, so we have a method that does that already, don't we? It's called fill boxes. Let's just call that again. Okay, so right here we're going to go fill boxes. Okay, and then the last thing we have to do, guys, is give ourselves 20 pennies again. So we got to set pennies back to 20. Okay, and then we have to update the label to show that we have the pennies. All right, so let me just come up to where I do that, which is after I toss a penny, right? So right here, this line of code is what we need. And we will put this right here. Okay, so that's going to reset everything, replay. All right, so then we just have to call that. So press OK to start a new game, and then if we type replay, then we start a new game. All right, so that is the complete Penny Pitch program. Going to run this one more time, make sure it works okay. And you can just quickly toss, right, to see if you're going to win anything. Prizes won, poster. Click OK to start a new game. Before I do that, I want to just verify. Poster here, and poster there. So 1, 2, 3. So yep, sure enough, I did win the poster. Okay, and watch what happens when I hit OK. Boom. All right, a brand new game. The prizes have been moved to different boxes. There's no pennies anywhere, and we're good to go. All right, so I'll just play one more game for good measure here. Prizes won, nothing. Okay, so you're just as likely to win something as not. But that's basically the whole game, and that's it, guys. So that's it for this week. Make sure that you zip this project up and send it along with the array worksheet. It was a pretty intense week, guys, I know, but I was trying to make up for some lost time. So hopefully you survive that, and we will see you next week for your ISU.